here at Anfield. Our Premier League insider David Ornstein joins us. And David, they could have done with Alexander Isak at Wembley, of course, last weekend. That is the big story that everybody wants to talk about when it comes to Liverpool right now. Is there any movement?
Well, it's arguably the biggest story of this summer, and we haven't heard the end of it yet. The news I broke in the week was that Alexander Isak has no intention to play for Newcastle United again. That's his perspective. In his mind, the Newcastle United chapter is over. And even if a deal is not done to secure his departure before the transfer window closes, his mind is not in the place of being reintegrated into Eddie Howe's squad. So that is a pretty drastic development in all of this. What we know is that Newcastle have no intention of selling him, and they've been clear and consistent in that for a long time. He's under contract, a very lucrative one, until the summer of 2028. However, they are looking for replacements for the event of him leaving. And we know that Liverpool have made an offer, £110 million. It was rejected immediately. They've not come back since, but their interest is ongoing, and they'd be ready to if they receive encouragement should Newcastle get their replacements. What we also learn now is that despite Newcastle's stance and Alexander Isak seemingly being content and happy at Newcastle towards the end of last season, I reported that on air here with you, we now know that 2 weeks before the end of the season, he told Eddie Howe personally that he planned or wanted to leave this summer. He repeated that after the final game of the season against Everton before going back to his native Sweden. And so this has been rumbling for some time. In his mind, he also let Newcastle know about his intentions as long as a year ago, when they said to him there will be no new contract because of their attempts to comply with financial fair play, PSR, profitability and sustainability, and also the fact that he earns so much already, and at that point he was still under contract until 2028 for 4 more years. People around Newcastle I speak to deny that. I've got to be clear. They say that's not true. He was always open in our mind to talking about this at the end of the season and maybe even signing a new contract. So it's got very messy. It's clearly emotional for the fan base, and I respect them hugely. This is a difficult period. But Alexander Isak hasn't played a pre-season friendly. He's not going to be playing for Newcastle at Aston Villa tomorrow. And we're going to have to wait and see if something gives on this. Maybe after the teams play, there could be a resolution one way or the other on when they face each other on the 25th. I can't say which way it's going to go. It feels in the balance, and we're going to have to see how it plays out. But he certainly wants that move to Liverpool.
And David, what's interesting is if they do get their man, they will have spent by the end of the transfer window well over $500 million. I think that has come as quite a surprise to maybe Liverpool fans, but definitely neutral fans of the Premier League, that all of a sudden it's been a flurry of activity in the transfer window here.
Rebecca, it's extraordinary. It's pretty much unprecedented. Maybe not just the number, but the volume of players who have come in, but also gone out as well. We knew it was going to be a period of change with Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving, which was also very emotional for this crowd and club. To Real Madrid as a free agent. And we've since seen the likes of Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez and the tragic news on Diogo Jota. But coming into Anfield, it was always going to be a chance for Arne Slot and the hierarchy here, Richard Hughes, sporting director, and Michael Edwards above him, to invest, because they didn't do anything last summer. They kept their powder dry. They had the courage of their convictions, which you and I spoke about at Stamford Bridge on the opening weekend. They went in for Martin Zubimendi. They didn't get him. They ended up with just Chiesa. And this was the time that they planned to really jet-propel their project. And so you've seen the likes of Frimpong and Kirkes and Ekitike. And, there's been a number of pieces of recruitment. Even Leone, who's been announced now at the back, a top prospect in defence too. And so they've balanced the books out quite nicely. I look at my numbers here, around £252 million spent, around £168 million received. There could be more with Ben Doak closing in on a move to Bournemouth. So what Liverpool are showing here is that they're backing Arne Slot, his project, his style of play, and we might not have seen the end of it yet if something develops on Isak. And they don't just want to retain this Premier League title, they want to go on and win the European title and really build another era of success here, post-Klopp, under Slot, and and they're not hanging about. The hierarchy here, FSG, the ownership, are backing the team. They're putting their money where their mouth is, and let's see if it's vindicated.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Lowe, and as we head towards the end of an exciting Premier League season, make sure you like and subscribe on the NBC Sports YouTube channel for more content like this.